Hey everybody, thanks for coming back. Tonight we'll be doing the season finale of Walking Dead. Episode is called Wrath. Let's get started. Obviously there'll be some spoilers in it. There'll be a lot of spoilers in it. There might even be a couple from the comic. Get caught up on the comic if you haven't yet. It's some would say better than the show, so do it. All right, let's get started. We started off with Rick in the house. He's tending to the baby, and Sadiq, the new helpful character, shows up. He's got the bottle. He wants to feed the baby, and Rick, on his way out, asks him, "How? How did it happen?" And we know what he means. Sadiq knows what he means. He wants to know how Carl got it, and Sadiq tells him that he told Carl about his mom, and his mom's theory was that the zombies were they had their souls were trapped in them. So Carl was kind of being nice to the zombies and like playing nice to them, sort of to honor Sadiq's mom, even though he's never met his mom. And that's what Sadiq tells Rick. We cut to everybody out in the courtyard, kind of sharpening their blades, and we have Ezekiel. He's sitting there and he's ruminating that not all of the men are going to come back. And Jerry's like, "We're not losing shit." And they end up giving this really sweet fist bump right there. I thought that was pretty awesome. We go to Sanctuary, where Negan's getting all his guys ready, and Dwight's rocking the patented savior prison outfit that Daryl had to wear for a while. We see Eugene, who's really starting to fall into his new supervillain look. He's rocking all black, going full Danzig on us, folks. But it's interesting at this point. He talks to Negan, and he's going over what he thinks is the best plan. One fell swoop, essentially, saying everybody fires all at once. And Negan sends his crew of red shirts out. They're the decoys. They're gonna go out and set the zombies up, but he knows Rick's gonna hit him hard. And yes, of course, just like that, in another perfect alignment of headshots and miraculous shots, everybody gets their shots on target, and all of Negan's men they drop dead. Except for one guy who was cowering behind the car, and he was kind of threw his hands up to Morgan, and he was like, "Nope, I don't want any more." And a pretty spectacular brutality, just kind of shanks the dude with the pointy end of the stick and gives him a good sweet neck chopping with the knife. And it was so impressive, Ghost Jared decided to pop up and give him some like,
Jesus. Oh.
It was good to see that guy again. I almost kind of, at first I wasn't with it, but now I kind of dig this Werewolf in London thing that's going on with him, where he kind of like sees and they're all like ravaged and stuff. It's very American Werewolf in London. So we cut to the car that Negan and Gabriel and Eugene are taking to the war front, essentially. And Dr. Gabriel jumps out of the car. He does a tuck and roll, rolls into the friggin' woods, and takes off running. But he's still blind because he's got like some weird mystery blind illness. Zombie blindness. So anyway, he gets run down by Eugene, because now Eugene's like a real badass like dude in black, and he can like track people down in the woods and pull guns on them and life or death. It's the new Eugene. You think that Gabriel may get it in this instance, but he doesn't. So we get like the long walk across this field, which is weird. I guess like they're heading to where they figured Negan's people are going to be, but it's just an open field they're walking at. Jesus gives Morgan a little pep talk about his stick, and he gives him some advice, and he says to use the pointy bloody stick for the dead and the blunt to clean end for the human people, and you'll be happy, trust me. Oh yes, so then they see the super herd off in the distance, and it's freaking huge, and it even took me a second to realize what I was looking at. So we go back to the hilltop, and there's a gate there, and there's a guy standing guard, and he's hilarious because he goes, "Savior!" It made me laugh out loud when he did that. And they just all piled into this trapdoor escape thing that they have planned. It was they just all bailed out of it again. Back to our heroes just marching across an open field. They start to hear Negan's whistling. It's loud and echoey. Of course, he has to drop on them because they're walking across the field like idiots. He's actually on a mic, on a bullhorn, and he's taunting our heroes, telling them that he has their friends, he has Eugene, and it was all Eugene's plan, actually. And he gives a nod to Eugene. You see on the hemisphere all of Negan's people all lined up, and he does the countdown. 3, 2, 1. As they're all lined up and firing, they all shoot. They're all exploding in their hands, and some gun chunks are like flying into dudes' faces and stuff, and they're just like standing there blinking as like their faces are have pistol pieces in their faces. And Negan got jacked up too. He got seriously messed up. His hand was really gnarly looking. Father Gabriel all of a sudden with the Falcon Punch. His blind preacher punch out of nowhere. Yeah, Negan flees at that point. We cut back to the people are fleeing still to the tree line, being chased by the saviors. We have Tara saying she's going to go back, but then we have that one guy. What's the friendly kind of the nice blonde savior dude? I don't know if they said his name yet. I don't know what his name is. He's like, no, we're going back. You're not maybe with us, but we're with you, right, guys? And the guys go, and they're all like kind of lined up. And you think they're just going to have the drop on them, but suddenly, out of nowhere, flaming hot Molotov cocktails start like hitting these guys. You see the lakeside women with their, or the swamp women as I call them, and they're hurling swamp fire, and they're roasting in this stuff. It's terrible. So then we cut back to the battle, the main battle going on in the open field, and crazy Fallout haircut lady is charging Eugene because she knows that he bamboozled him and sabotaged the ammo to make the guns blow up in their faces. She's about to get Eugene, and all of a sudden, you think Eugene's going to shoot her. He pulls his gun out, but she gets blown away, and it's Rosita shoots her and a few of them, and Rosita saves Eugene basically. Morgan has the opportunity to take out one of the saviors, and he gives him the blunt end of the stick instead of the pointy bloody end, And Jesus is there, so Jesus approves. Jesus approves. About that time, the rest of Negan's guys and girls are giving up. Laura, whoop, it's over, we give up. And she gets on her knees, and you almost think like maybe Maggie's gonna mow them all down, but she does not. We finally get to the Rick and Negan battle that we've been waiting for. Rick wastes all of his ammo shooting at him, and he hits a couple of these weird like redneck art things that are hanging on these trees. They're like glass. Negan gets him one good time in the ribs with Lucille. Negan's a brawler, so he's just really kicking the crap out of Rick. They're both kind of like this huffing and puffing and getting up, and Rick asks for 10 seconds. Just give me 10 seconds. Do it for Carl. He says, we could all be together, and this is what Carl would have wanted. And he actually starts to get like Negan misty-eyed, like he affected him, and all of a sudden Negan starts bleeding, and he goes down, and he's gurgling and mumbling, and you see Rick's holding a piece of the glass from the redneck art that was hanging in the tree because he got shot, which was a surprise. It was different from the comic. I wasn't expecting that. So here's where we're gonna get into a little bit of stuff from the comics, because Negan pretty much just curled up, and then Rick had him saved. But going back to the comics, I was expecting something a little bit more, because Negan is a total mad dog. The dude is unstoppable, and even as he was gasping on his own blood with his throat cut in the comics, he still managed to tackle Rick, grab him by his leg, and then snap it like a chicken bone. And it's a permanent injury Rick still has to this day. He needs a cane for. I was a little disappointed the show didn't go there. I don't know why. It wouldn't have been out of character for him, but whatever. So Rick turns around, and sure enough, like everybody saw that. The prisoners and Hilltop all saw what happened. So Rick signals to Sadiq to save him. Maggie just flips. She loses it, screaming. Hear a bit of her natural British accent coming out in this scene. But she's pissed, because she wanted Negan dead. Negan killed Glenn, and she wanted him dead. That was part of the deal. Negan has to die, and he's not going to die because Rick has this new vision for the new world. So he gives everybody a pep talk, basically saying this is their world now. They can do what they want as long as they play cool with everybody. If not, hey. Rick's talking about life and death, and he points out over the hills to the huge mega herd coming, and he says that's death, and it's coming for us. That might be a slight hint of what's to come for the next season. If you read the comics, you know what their next threat is waiting for them. We got to Rosita. She's getting a chance to talk to Eugene about it since they last spoke, and he puked all over her. And she asks if he was the one that sabotaged the bullets and saved him. And he said, yes, it was the fully kablooey or some weird Eugene thing that he usually says. And she decked him. She punched the shit out of him for puking on her. We start to see the communities rebuilding. We see Tara go and visit the sanctuary, which I don't even know if they call it that anymore. But Negan's wives aren't, wearing the black gowns anymore. Now they're like wearing regular clothes, and people are like gardening and stuff. Let's move it on. Daryl takes Dwight out in the middle of the woods in a truck. You think he's gonna totally whack Dwight, which would have been sad. But Daryl lets him go, basically. Daryl knows how much Dwight's wife means to him, so he lets him go, leaves him the keys of the truck to get a chance. Go find your wife. You come back, though, you're dead, man. You go back to the trash pile of the trash people. Morgan's knocking on the door. He invites her over. Rick says it's cool. She's like, okay, let's go. And Morgan's like, no, I gotta stay. You can go. You need to be with people. I need to be alone. I'm crazy. So we go to a dark room, sort of a meeting going on, and it's Maggie. She's very stern, and she's talking to somebody that we find out is Jesus. And she's saying that the way of the future's right and Rick's idea is right, but sparing Negan was wrong, and him and Michonne are wrong for doing it. And Jesus, strangely enough, seems like he's agreeing with this, because it's like, seems like they're like talking about a coup. And then Daryl steps out of the freaking darkness, like he's agreeing with it too. I mean, I know he's pissed and everything, but we're talking about a coup against Rick. That's Daryl's buddy, it's like, what the heck, man. So we'll see what's going on. And this scene was real reminiscent. Again, I'm going to go into a little spoiler territory here about the comics, but there's a coup against Maggie by Gregory in the comics, and this scene sort of reminded me of that. And then another thing we go to is just straight out of the comics is the scene of Negan in his hospital recovering from his wounds, got the bandage wrapped up, and he's got Rick pretty much over him, taunting him about the future and how it's going to change, and they're going to force him to watch it because he didn't think it could happen, and he was holding humans back, but they want to make sure he lives there, and he's going to rot in prison, and he's going to watch the world flourish. And the episode ends with Rick writing his heartfelt letter to his dead son, Carl, about how he had a memory of them walking, and it wasn't really them walking together. It was Carl leading Rick into the new world. So was it good? I would say it was good. I mean, we've all seen bad Walking Dead season finales, and this wasn't bad. I think I had my expectations. I think a lot of people probably be pretty mad that Negan didn't get it. They feel like they were promised that he would get it, and he didn't. So I could see how they kind of felt like that was a cheap shot. But hey, it's Walking Dead. They're used to it by now. But it makes me look forward to what the show holds in the future. We still don't really know much about the helicopter. We don't know much about the lady who wanted to trade the records with the book of the information, how to build plumbing and stuff like that. Anyway, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.